Supplier Guidelines, start of Part 2. Proper packing is a common sense matter, but unfortunately we repeatedly see packing violations that could cause damage, require reworking, add to the shipping cost, or make handling dangerous or difficult. The bullets shown here are a few points to keep in mind. If additional packaging is required, and that can be done at your loading facility, it is advisable to alert the foreign buyer of this option and add the cost of that to your invoice before the cargo is shipped to our receiving location. Many foreign customs require that cargo be palletized for their inspection. Our warehouse will consolidate loose items on skids and generally will shrink wrap the material to the skid. We suggest that the expense not be spared to provide well-built pallets. Sometimes we're amazed that $30,000 machines are placed on pallets that look overly used, are constructed of very soft lumber, or are actually coming apart. Occasionally, our warehouse has to cut these skids to economically fit in a closed container. Bear in mind, insurance claims will usually not be honored if the cause is improper packaging. Knowing the cargo is being insured in no way provides an excuse to use inferior packaging. Common sense is needed if the cargo can't be double stacked or requires special handling. A TSA requirement is that each skid tendered for air shipment must be banded 4 ways with proper banding material. Air cargo that is not packed this way will be refused by the airline. Each ocean container is affixed with a seal by our warehouse at the time the door is shut, and the local drayman picks it up for delivery to the marine terminal. If it has been tampered with, there would be an indication that the cargo itself may have been violated. Another common sense point, although often ignored, is using too small pallets. Shifting and brushing of the cargo can occur while en route to us, resulting in degrees of cosmetic or even concealed damage if the cargo falls over. A simple use of a slightly wider pallets can often prevent the brushing of the close cargo and avoid top-heavy falling. The purchase order, sales contract, letter of credit, or other correspondence from the buyer typically indicates what information should be on the labels. Normally, the shipping labels include the bullets shown here. H.C. Bennett's PO Wizard system creates shipping labels that are affixed by our warehouse to the cargo. This indicates the shipping mode and warehouse receipt number to double-check the proper material is included from the loading plan. The importance of including a packing list with the cargo cannot be understated. Otherwise, there could be significant confusion in identifying exactly what has been shipped. The trucker's inland bill of lading cannot be considered a replacement for a packing list. Especially for cargo that is shipped by air or LCL, ambiguous shipping marks need to be removed. Otherwise, the international carrier may stow and route the cargo improperly in spite of what the carrier's manifest may guide. Do not show a port of discharge on the shipping label. We've noticed some break bulk shipments that have gone awry when the shipper showed the buyer's administrative location, but the cargo was to be shipped elsewhere. Can't get enough of packing, labeling, and warehouse-related information? HCB offers a free online presentation explaining warehouse functions from a forwarder's perspective. Consider that the line items on some POs are split by international shipping mode, air, ocean, or expedited. When this occurs, the cargo that applies to each mode should be separately packed when shipped to us, if possible. Consider that even if some cargo is to be shipped by air instead of ocean, actually more packaging may be required. For instance, pieces with sharp edges could be refused by the airline and require at least skeleton crating, whereas the same cargo shipped in a container may not require any packaging. Also, be cognizant that if the cargo moves internationally by air, the concept of dimensional weight can play a key role in the cost. The cargo is the cargo is measured from the furthest length, width, height points, which equals the total cubic inches divided by 166 equals the equivalent dimensional weight in pounds. If the dimensional weight is higher than the actual weight, the air cost will be based on that figure. The terms of sale will dictate who has the responsibility to arrange the inland carrier to H.C. Bennett's consolidation point. Today, inland shipping uses the same Incoterms used internationally. Basically, routed transaction orders to U.S. suppliers will be either FCA, which is free carrier, the U.S. consolidation point, or ex-works, EXW, your plant. Under FCA terms, it is your responsibility to arrange, ship, and pay for the movement of the shipment to the consolidation point, which is usually a warehouse that is designated by H.C. Bennett Company. Risk of ownership depends upon the Incoterms. For ex-works terms, the risk transfers from the U.S. seller to the foreign buyer when the trucker signs cleanly for the cargo at the collection point. For free carrier HCB's receiving warehouse terms, risk is transferred when our receiving warehouse signs cleanly for the cargo. Cargo that is sourced from Canada or Mexico should technically be sold on a delivered duty paid DDP basis to H.C. Bennett's warehouse. This means any U.S. clearance, duty, or inland charges should be arranged and paid for by you, the seller. For LC sales, the operative document the bank is looking for is usually the Forwarder's Certification of Receipt, or the FCR. H.C. Bennett Company can provide this document, or we can use a format of your choosing. Want to learn more about the subtle points of Incoterms? HCB has a presentation for that. Note, there are four main types of Incoterms: E, F, C, and D. The seller's responsibility to account for these functions and their costs are increased as we move from E through F and C to D terms of sale. Speaking of getting paid via a letter of credit that uses an FCR, HCB has a webinar on international methods of payment. Among other topics, the export letter of credit cycle is explained. For EXW, or ex-works terms, H.C. Bennett arranges, controls, and pays for the inland routing. Most often, moves of cargo over 70 pounds are handled by our truck broker. For cargo under 70 pounds, HCB has an account with UPS. If sold on an ex-works basis, call H.C. Bennett Company to obtain our UPS account number. The inland move will then be billed to us. Communicating that your shipment is coming our way through an advanced shipment notification, or ASN, is possibly the most beneficial means to allow us to properly receive and subsequently plan for the international shipment leg. It is very helpful to provide the cargo's weights and dimensions with the ASN. The ASN should also provide the key tracking information we need to check on the status of the inland shipment. Many trucking companies provide a convenient means on the internet to check the exact estimated delivery information. The foreign principals purchase order shows the international shipping mode. Unnecessary costly air routings from the supplier plant to our U.S. receiving warehouse have been used because the PO requests an air routing when the inland routing could easily have been handled in a less costly LTL carrier. If you're shipping more than one purchase order in the same shipment, please segregate the shipping units accordingly. We then assign separate warehouse receipts to each shipping unit's purchase order. We have hazmat trained people on our staff who are very familiar with proper packaging of air and ocean moves. Perhaps obvious on the surface, a shipment of 50 cartons on one skid would be signed for as receive 50 units, right? Not necessarily. If the cargo cannot be readily counted in front of the delivering driver. Our warehouse will usually sign for one shrink wrap pallet said to contain 50 cartons. HCB does not dismantle shipping units to verify the piece count. What is considered the shipping unit may be key if a shortage claim is later pursued against the inland carrier. You may tender 8 shrink-wrapped pallets, which is shown as received by the pickup carrier and jives with the packing list. To make additional space, the inland carrier may then repack the cargo into 6 pallets. This obviously can cause confusion at the destination when the packing list and shipping unit piece count don't correspond. Inform the inland carrier not to repack if possible. Some orders involve cargo that cannot fit in a closed ocean container. Excessive weight or out-of-gauge dimensions may require using a specialized carrier. Often such cargo is shipped directly from the factory to the marine terminal. Cargo that can't be readily handled by the marine terminal's forklift capacity may require prearranging the rental of a crane. How oversized or overweight cargo is shipped usually comes down to break bulk or the use of specialized steamship line equipment such as a flat rack or open top container. Break bulk cargo is usually routed directly to the marine terminal, whereas flat rack and open top use involves the expert loading by a qualified warehouse. Want to learn more about issues involving international logistics? HCB has a webinar for that too. This discusses real-world issues of interest relating to shipping internationally. This is the end of Part 2 of the Supplier Guidelines. Part 3 is next and is the last part.